Jesus. Yes, indeed, we're about good messages and, of course, the good songs, the songs that really bring you to that place where you get to understand who Christ is for you. Fatima is with us. Dr. Fatima is going to be speaking to us a little bit about all things breast cancer. She is a Cape Town based surgeon with a special interest in breast, thyroid, and parathyroid health. And as it is, we are spreading awareness when it comes to all things cancer, breast cancer this month. So we thought, why not have Dr. Fatima with us here to give us some facts and information about breast cancer health. How are you, Dr. Fatima, this morning? Thank you so much for joining us here at Radio K Pulpit. Are you well? Dr. Fatima?
Hi there. Thank you so much for having me. I'm well, and how are you today?
Well, thank you, Dr. There's a bit of an echo, so I don't know if there's something that you need to switch off on your side. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, that actually sounds much better now. Much better sound, clarity. Thank you once again for joining us. So I think let's just go straight right into it. You've highlighted that cultural misconceptions about breast cancer persist in many South African communities. Can you perhaps elaborate on some of these misconceptions and how they impact women's health?
It depends on the culture, really. But I think a lot of people still think breast cancer is somehow a punishment or some sort of witchcraft or something that was man-made or done unto them or something that they didn't necessarily maybe did wrong, which of course none of which is correct. It is something that happens, unfortunately. It is an illness, and there are a lot of things that we can definitely do to prevent or to try and decrease our risk of developing breast cancer. But to a greater extent, I think it's not something that was done unto us. It's not something that is bad. It's not something that's related to witchcraft, those sort of things. And those things generally tend to prevent people from seeking help early because they have the stigma attached to it.
Absolutely. And as you've already alluded, to people viewing South African communities, some of them viewing breast cancer as a sign of witchcraft or sin, how do you then think we can address such beliefs and encourage women to seek the medical attention that they need?
I think ultimately it boils down to educating our society and the people around us. It's important to have these conversations, to explain to people that it's actually a medical disease. I mean, it's not. It's like diabetes or hypertension. It's a disease that happens. It can sometimes be related to genetics, not always. It can be related to poor health habits to a certain degree, not completely. And there are different ways, again, we can advise them how to help themselves, how to seek help early, when to seek help, what are the danger signs, and what help entails. So it doesn't really always mean that they're going to get their breast off, because a lot of people are very afraid to go to the hospital because they think, oh my God, what if this is breast cancer? They're gonna take off my breast. It's not necessarily like that. And of course, the longer you wait, the more likely that reality becomes. So we kind of have to educate people that seeking help early is actually better for you than to let fear guide your judgment and guide your decision making.
Absolutely, Dr. Fatim. Now, what role do you believe breast self-examination can help in early detection, especially for the women who may not have access to regular screenings?
So for the vast majority of South Africans, that's a reality because we actually don't have screening programs available in South Africa due to a lot of the budget cuts that has happened in the government sector. So as we know, majority of our South African population use the government sector or the public health sector. So the breast self-examination is the best way that we can help them detect their breast cancer early. And thus we need to kind of highlight, apart from the fact that we need to try and fight for screening and screening services for our population. But I mean, that's another discussion. Um, it is very important because if you are comfortable with your breasts, if you know what they feel like, and then you feel a lump, the first thing you know, okay, that lump that shouldn't be there, it wasn't there last month. Okay, let's go to the doctor. Let's see. It helps. I mean, it's not the earliest that we get a diagnosis. It's by the time you feel a lump, it's usually a stage 2 cancer. But I mean, at least you're getting diagnosed at a point where it is mostly still curable disease, and we can still help and offer a lot of management options.
Absolutely. Now, the stigma surrounding breast cancer can, particularly be challenging uh, in more conservative communities. How can we begin to work to normalize discussions around breast health in these contexts?
Well, it's. I think first of all, I think as the generations move along, we are slowly becoming a little bit more comfortable having those discussions. But also, I mean, we all, I mean, women speak to women, raising those people who have faced breast cancer to have those discussions with those people who have not, and discuss your experiences, and challenge the stigmas. Those the young ones that are maybe understand the disease and have a lot more of the information to speak to the elders and to have chats about it, to become more open and realize that breasts, I mean, we all know women have them. This is how we breastfed for hundreds of thousands of years. It's something that we should be comfortable with. Why are we not talking about it? So to challenge those stigmas, to challenge those fears, and those people who are comfortable with it, to discuss it and to become more open about it. It actually having those conversations with those people who are uncomfortable about it, it starts to open up doors for them also to realize that it's not that bad to talk about it. We can.
It's not that deep. Now, it can get deep though, but I think in the beginning stages, it's not that deep. Like the question that I'm just about to ask you now, if you could walk our listeners through how to perform a breast self-examination and what signs that one can look for, because so often we hear as women on just in the public, we hear self-examination is important, but we don't know how. What must we do? What do we look out for?
Yeah, I think looking at your breasts in the mirror, and then just feeling them. We usually tell patients to do it about 10 days after their menstrual cycle, because that's when the breast is the least tender. You don't have to do it every day. In fact, if you do it every day, you kind of can miss subtle changes that happen. So just once a month, 10 days after your menstrual cycle, take a good look at the boobies in the mirror, and then take a good feel with the fingertips of your hand, so kind of with a flat hand and the palm, and rubbing in circles on each of the little quadrants of your breast, and then around the nipple areola complex, and then just remembering that the breast does extend up to the armpit, so just to feel in that area as well for any lumps or bumps. And then remember, it's not about what's necessarily what's abnormal, it's what's abnormal for you. So if you have had a a tiny little lump in your breast since you were 12 and it hasn't changed and it's there and it's now you're 35 and it's still there, that's not something to be necessarily worried about as long as it's not changing. If you start seeing that now you're 45 and there's a new lump in your breast, that is something to definitely be worried about. It's what's new and what's different and what's not normal for your breast. So some people have inverted nipples, but that's the way their nipples have always been. If your nipples have never been inverted and now they suddenly inverted, that's a problem. If you have a nipple discharge or bloody nipple discharge, or there's dimpling of the breast, so you see like suddenly your breast develops a little bit of a looks like a smiley face or dimple or something like that. So skin changes, thickening of the skin. They talk about the orange peel appearance. Those are all danger signs. Change in color, so the redness or signs of inflammation. Those are all signs that you obviously need to go and have it checked out. Yeah.
So you've noted that late presentation is a significant issue, which many women only see, or which many women only seeking medical attention when the disease is at its latest stage. What are some of the key factors that are contributing to the late detection?
One of which is access. I mean, access to care is it's not that easy, and we like to think yes, we do have free healthcare in South Africa, but it's not actually free. I mean, some people have to travel um, long distances and find money for that travel. So it's not without cost implications, and those people may not have the money, and they have to choose between transport to a hospital and having dinner on their table. So definitely finances and the financial situations of many people in South Africa is a major factor. Access to healthcare, knowledge of the disease and what can be done, the stigma that's still associated with developing any disease, especially cancer or breast cancer. These are all things that inherently limit early diagnosis. And of course, there's no screening program for those patients who only have access to the government sector or the public sector in health. So we can't diagnose these cancers like super early as we would like. Biopsies take a long time to get results. Getting scans and mammograms, etc. Those all take a lot of time to get in the public sector. And unfortunately, that leads to a delay in diagnosis and in a delay in treatment.
Sure, it's very
Which worsens
sad.
the prognosis for the
Yeah,
patient.
yeah.
It is extremely sad, yeah.
And it is definitely access, like you said. So, what message would you like to convey to women about the importance of regular screenings and self examination in the fight against breast cancer?
If you have access to a screening service, then please once a year have your clinical examination by your healthcare professional, and then of course a mammogram and ultrasound. And if you need anything extra, I'm sure your doctor or healthcare provider will advise accordingly. For those who don't have access to the screening program, monthly breast self-examination 10 days after your cycle. It is good for you. Get comfortable with those boobs. They're yours ultimately. Um, so they enjoy them, and it's a part of your body. And if there's something wrong, if you want to save your boobs, get help early. Try and get to the doctor as soon as possible. And you remember that we know our bodies best. You've lived with it the longest. You know it. So if you know that there's something wrong, then make sure that you get the help that you think you need for that problem. And if that is a breast thing, if you don't get help from the first person, then ask another doctor. Get a second opinion. You have a right to it.
I think for the next question, you've already alluded to it, but as a surgeon with a special interest in breast health, what do you then believe is the most critical step that one can take to reduce the number of deaths from breast cancer in South Africa?
Early access to screening and early diagnosis is the best way to save breasts, and it's definitely the best way to save lives. Yeah, I think that is all I think that's what we can do, and it's something. It's not major things that need to be done. It's just feeling your breasts and taking a look at them. And if there's a problem, just getting help early. Um, I think we should be able to do that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fatima Hussein, speaking to us about the importance of looking after our breasts as a women, and also debunking all the stigmas that exist when it comes to all things breast cancer. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and so that is why we're having these very important conversations here. Thank you, Dr. Fatima, and may you be blessed in the work that you're doing for women, and may you save many lives. Thank you so much, and blessings.
Thank you so much for